Y'all, Pam cannot catch a break. AG Pam Bondi, the one, the only, DOJ. Listen, when the gun controllers are now coming for her, seriously, you can't buy a win. This one's gonna blow your mind. Why the gun controllers are super pissed at March for Our Lives. You know, the place that Davy Hogg co-founded and now is down to 3 out of 16 original staffers because their USAID fund money dried up. But other than that, everything's going swell. You guys are going to love every second of this. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. We are fighting against the yoke of the YouTube algorithm. And every time you subscribe and hit a like button or drop an emoji, you dispel the demon that is trying to kill freedom. All right, was that too intense? I don't care. Let's get it. Everything will be linked in the description box below. Let's jump right over to the show. Looks like we've got 5x5 audio video. Excellent. Let's dive in. Make sure you guys are following me on X at Braden LOA. This one you guys are going to like, much like Men's Warehouse, I guarantee it. All right. While we're waiting on you guys to get in here, before I get you to the actual big point of why they're pissed at, Pamela, AG Bondi, AG Pam, whatever. All right, listen. CNN did something today that you guys just need to be fully aware of, because what they've done is they've fallen back into their old dirty little habits. And this is, while this is loading, I'm going to kind of set this up. They've done this thing where they figure out how to destroy their credibility and then amplify the thing they don't want you to look at forever. All right, so I'm going to reload this because it's just deciding to act up once I go live. But what we're watching here is an actual clip from CNN. Now, I want to set this up properly for you guys. What you are looking at is a live feed on CNN at the time of this capture, right? This is not live of the second, but at the time of this capture. You have the CNN Chief National Affairs Correspondent on the left side of the screen. You have Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, on the main podium at the White House. Now, what they're doing is they are showing her video image, but they're killing her audio, and they're talking with him over it. But listen to what he says, and you tell me if this reminds you of anything and if it's going to have the intended desired effect they're wanting. Watch this. This is mind-boggling stuff. Watch this.
We have no idea. I mean, this is hardly information that we should even be repeating. Never mind that it's, some years after the fact, 8 years more than that after the fact, but also just to look at the source. But look, this is the what this White House wants to talk about, and I'm not sure that we should spend that much more time on it, frankly. Yeah.
All right, just so you know, it happened 8 years ago. So any type of abuse of the system or treasonous behavior by a former president and his CIA director and his FBI director, all that 8 years ago, guys. What are you worried about? You know what? I'm pretty sure, considering the source, that we just shouldn't talk about this at all, because water's under the bridge. Bygones being bygones. Have you guys heard Trump is evil? Just saying. When you do this kind of crap, it triggers something called a Streisand effect. And it makes every single person watching that feed and watching this feed want to go and find out what she said, because this dill hole on the left is deciding what you can and can't hear as the gatekeeper of information. This is why no one trusts the media whatsoever. This is why I even have a channel and a platform, because people seek out the truth, and I source everything in the description box below every single video for 5 years to avoid this. This guy's literally telling you they shouldn't talk about something the Director of National Intelligence is bringing up around something that important. But don't worry. Trust him. Trust him. All right, how was that for an entree? Okay, we are working our way towards the goods. At the very end of this is where Parkland comes in. But I ran across this little infographic that I want to bring you guys into the world of awareness of what I do on X sometimes. This is why I want you guys to follow. So as you can see right here, if you compared the European deaths of people who overheated in heat deaths to firearm homicides in the United States in a single year, those are the comparisons. And I looked up the numbers. Look, it's real. UN, World Health Organization, 175,000 lives annually in the European region. This isn't made up. I verified it. 175,000 people in heat deaths per year, 17,900 for firearms in the United States, which means about 4 times more likely to die in Europe of heat than you are of firearm homicides in the United States. Funny how I don't see Giffords.org and March for Our Lives, the people who are about to highlight pounding this out. When is, common sense air conditioning control? God, how many lives could be saved? I tell you what. And look, I went a little crazy and I did cold. And by the way, I see the emojis over here in the live feed. I appreciate that, guys. That sends it out in the algorithm a lot. Chats, likes, and emojis. All right, here's the cold. If you thought that was impressive, again, there's the heat, about 4x times. Let's go down to the cold that I did. Again, also confirm these numbers with the Lancet, I believe was the source. 363,000 people die from cold in Europe in one single year versus 17,900 firearm homicides in a year, which is about 20 times more likely to die in cold than you are to die from a firearm in the United States. Guys, we all day long, this is what we can do all day long. It's this easy because these people are this full of it. I mean, look at those numbers. 20 times more likely? I thought Europe was the gold standard and the thing that we were missing in life. Well, apparently not. Heat and cold are a lot more deadly than firearms. I saw it. You saw it here. All right, now let's get into the actual point of why we are here together. Those were just entrees or appetizers. This is the entree. So if you aren't following an account on X called Rob Romano, I recommend you do it because this is where I ran across a lot of things, and they're usually snarky, and I like that. March for Our Lives has launched a campaign called Parkland Pam. And of course, we're referring to the Attorney General Pam Bondi because they're big mad at Pam Bondi because she did a few very, very key things. And she's now the most gun rights oriented AG in history, according to March for Our Lives. And that makes her the worst. That is a take. That is a take. It is an interesting world. And if you can't tell, this is March for Our Lives, and they're under low budget. That's pretty good evidence. Here's March for Our Lives. Parkland Pam campaigns to expose AG Bondi's betrayal of gun violence survivors. Man, I'll tell you what, she cannot buy a win right now. And that was posted July 22nd. Let's continue, though. I want to show you what they're real upset about. I mean, the feels are flowing from the teenagers over at March for Our Lives, the three that are left. Washington, D.C., July 22nd, 2025. Put my best deep voice on, my narrator voice. Today, March for Our Lives, MFOL. That's not a good acronym. Launch Parkland Pam, a national accountability campaign exposing how U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who served as Florida Attorney General during the time of the 2018 Parkland school shooting, exploited the tragedy to advance her political career and later systemically betrayed every promise she made to survivors and grieving families. The group that backs Davy Hogg, founded by Davy Hogg, and backs Maxwell Frost probably shouldn't be leaning on the exploiting a tragedy angle. I'm just saying. Okay, moving right along. Don't want to get into too much trouble. In the aftermath of the Parkland shooting, then Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi stood before cameras and made promises to survivors and grieving families. She vowed to keep guns out of the dangerous hands and claimed to support policies that would prevent future tragedies. At her confirmation hearing for U.S. Attorney General, she invoked the names and pain of Parkland families to secure her position. But when the cameras stopped rolling, Bondi wiped away her crocodile tears and took actions that would kill American kids. Good to know they're still hyperbolic and idiotic. Now, I am flummoxed at how both sides of a political argument, me over here on the gun rights side and you guys, and then the gun controllers over here on the left, appropriately, they can see the same person and see the same problems with the same event, only from different angles completely. So on the gun rights side over here, Pam's in trouble because she did all the red flag law stuff. But on the left over here, she's in trouble because she didn't do enough of it. Yeah. Let me show you the reasons. The reasons are coming. Don't worry. Here comes a little quote. Pam Bondi used the worst day of my life as a photo op, said Jackie Corin, March for Our Lives executive director and Parkland survivor. Speaking about leveraging points. Bondi supported Florida's gun safety reforms when it was good politics. Now, if you're not familiar, that is raising the age of firearms from 18 to 21, all firearms, and then that is red flag laws. It's those two things. But since become the most dangerous and deadly U.S. Attorney General on gun safety in modern history. And I will get to your chats here in a second. I see you guys flying them, and thank you for the emojis. The most dangerous attorney general on gun safety in modern history. Okay, in the chat over here, being on the gun rights side of this, do you guys feel like she is the most the most pro 2A attorney general in history? Like, I genuinely want to know what you guys. You know what? We're gonna poll this because the differences in observation here is crazy. All right, is Pam Bondi the most 2A AG in history? Yes or no? And I'm just going to pull it, and we're just going to let that roll. Make sure you guys jump in that. I'm really curious what your thoughts are. But this is what they're upset about. They're upset that AG Pam Bondi is the most pro 2A or most anti-gun safety in modern history AG. I mean, from our side, I can call balls and strikes all day long. I can be as pissed as I want to be about how she's rolled out a few things, but I can also give her credit where credit's due. I mean, like, there are a couple of things that are like, okay, that's pretty decent. Now, on the whole, I'm a little concerned, but especially in light of recent events. But just from a standpoint of the Civil Rights Division 2A, the rules she just dropped, the executive orders that she's enforcing, there are some good things. Objectively, I'm not going to be an asshole, but this is what they're upset about. All right, let's get it. Here it is, and this if you're a routine follower of this channel, one of the BBOF, the Beautiful Bastions of Freedom, you'll recognize some of these talking points, and I'll tell you where in a second. She effectively legalized machine guns. Oh, we'll come back to all this. She revoked the ATF's zero tolerance policy for gun dealers who broke the law. She created a Guns Everywhere task force to do the gun lobby's bidding. She slashed millions of dollars in funding for community violence intervention programs. She tore down a memorial for gun violence victims. Refused to support national red flag laws despite endorsing Florida's version after Parkland. Proposed gutting the ATF's budget to eliminate the agency's ability to oversee the gun industry. And restored the gun rights of convicted criminals, including domestic abusers. Okay, let's just go through a couple of these. Let's just hit them. And if this strikes any kind of chord for you guys, you win a prize because you know that we did a video on this a couple days ago where Giffords.org was doing this exact same talking points, the exact same pieces of information they were pissed about. We actually not primary, I wish we could primary them. We actually did a ratio event on these very posts from Giffords. I think the ratio was like 450 comments to like 40 likes. We smoked them by like 729%. But these are the same talking points. Effectively legalized machine guns. She's talking about dropping the FRTs. They didn't legalize machine guns. Machine guns have not been removed from the NFA. They are still behind the NFA. They're still behind the exact same rigorous standards they've been forever. And the fines and fees didn't even change. They're just making stuff up at this point in time. Revoked the ATF's zero tolerance policy for gun dealers who broke the law. You mean where Biden was directly targeting individuals who run gun stores to destroy their businesses because of political aspirations? Yeah, okay, good. That's awesome. Created a Guns Everywhere task force to do the gun lobby's bidding. Now, she's talking about the Civil Rights Division, focusing on 2A rights in there, and that's Harmeet Dillon. So, I mean, I'm actually kind of down with that one, that, constitutionality, weird. Tore down a memorial to gun violence victims. Guys, I swear these people, they live in a world of emotion and nothing else. They took down a placard of pictures that Steve Dettelbach put up in the lobby of the ATF that was smack dab in the middle, just standing there. That was it. They took down pictures of victims of gun violence, as they called it, because it was in the middle of the ATF lobby. That's not tearing down a memorial. I'm pretty sure the Vietnam Memorial still stands. She refused to support national red flag laws despite endorsing Florida's version at the Parkland. Florida's version at the Parkland was one of the reasons she's in hot water with gun owners across the board. Just fair warning. Proposed gutting the ATF's budget to eliminate the agency's ability to oversee the gun industry. Technically, that was Congress, not her. She just said we can cut it, and then Congress cut it. But again, don't let facts get in the way. And then restored the gun rights of convicted criminals, including domestic abusers, after they have paid their time in certain circumstances and meeting certain criteria. March for Our Lives is such a childish organization. But anyway, let's continue. I've got some Davey Hogg quotes here because I know you guys love this guy. The poll, by the way, is still open. Man, look at you guys. Hold on a second. We're almost split on AG most pro or most con. I'm really curious where that ends up. Make sure you guys vote in that poll I put up. All right, back to Davey Hogg, sorry. And I will get here in the chat in a second. No attorney general in modern history will cause more children in America to be killed by guns than Pam Bondi, said David Hogg, March for Our Life co-founder. God, this guy is just swirling around the drain of emotional, just gone. At her confirmation, Bondi talked about common sense policies and her own pain seeing families suffer. But once in office, Bondi's done the gun lobby's bidding by gutting reforms that are proven to save lives, including going after life-saving violence intervention programs that not only save thousands of lives, but hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars by stopping shootings before they happen. Talking about red flag laws, talking about all the different controls they put over people's rights. It's basically, it's like Minority Report on steroids. Anyway, we are here to remind her you can't claim Parkland's legacy while dismantling Parkland's reforms. Davey, I would not hang your hat heavy on that one, man. That one does not carry the same water that you think it does. Anyway, here's some more things. This is what they want. They want to reinstate the ATF's zero tolerance policy for law-breaking gun dealers, which is an interesting one that they are so obsessed about because they were really hard on about it when Biden did it. Support national implementation of red flag laws? No, absolutely not. Gun control, unconstitutionality, due process, much. Restore funding for community violence intervention and school safety programs, that's USAID and that's all the slush funds. And stop prioritizing gun industry profits over the lives of American children. Of course, has no basis in reality, doesn't mean anything, they're just talking out their asses. But that's what they're really pissed about. That they're real angry. I mean, you saw it. All right, let me jump over to this chat. I saw a super chat right here. Jeremy Willis with $2. This is funny. I actually thought this one. Imagine their outrage if she was actually pro 2A. You know, it's one of the most interesting things about being in a microcosm in the 2A space or in the, pro-life space or in the conservative space or the MAGA space, whatever space you want to be in, right? What's so fascinating about it is you get into these social media areas where it's such a pure population of that one thing that if someone on the outside of it says, yes, I love my Second Amendment rights, like a rhino Republican's like, I totally respect the Second Amendment. They dive into our population and they're like, oh my God, there's machine guns everywhere. It's just funny. That's why that made me laugh. All right, I'm gonna cut this poll real quick. I'm really curious about this. I'm gonna publish it right now. And I'll keep this to about 20 minutes. I don't want to bombard all y'all time. All right, so the polling results, this actually surprises me, genuinely. Is Pam Bondi the most 2A AG in history, yes or no? 53% said yes, no said 46%. I'm really surprised that's as high on the positive for Bondi because a lot of people give her a lot of flack. That is very interesting. Cameron. I'm taking screenshots of what? Okay, AG front. Apparently I'm missing something over here is very, something's going on over here in the, in the chat. There's like screenshots being taken and there's some people who are having a moment. I don't even know what's going on over here. All right. Super chat from Scott Nearing, $5. Building off that, could you mention if Don Jr. was the AG? I mean, I think that was, could you imagine if Don Jr. was the AG? Yeah, I'm sure it'd be much more hair screeching or face screeching, pulling out, clawing, gnashing, gnashing of teeth. I know it's gnashing. Someone out there will go, it's gnashing, not gnashing. Yes, I know. Thank you. But yeah, that is it. How many people in here actually are aware of the AG's history? That's a good question, Danny. It was 56% no when I voted, said Michael. Sheesh. All right, guys, listen. I have spent the amount of time that I promised I would, under 20 minutes. Listen, I enjoy these lives. Let me know in the chats and the comments down below if you are enjoying these lives as much as I am, because I really think they're a great way to communicate with you guys. You seem to like them. You seem to respond well in the views, but make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, and of course, follow me at Braden LOA on X. I love each and every one of you, just the right amount that makes you feel comfortable, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.